Om Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahano Bhunaktu. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvina Vaditamastu. Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. 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 Om, may the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto thee, unto us, and to all your beloved children everywhere. Well, namaste and welcome everyone to our Wednesday evening class on the book Divine Grace. Our reader is Jeff Salvage. He will tell us where we are in the book. But if you have any comments, concerns, or questions before we begin, now is the time.
Brother Shankara, reader is Haima. Saturday is Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Okay, that's okay. I'm the reader too.
You go ahead and read then.
Sure, Brother Shankara. Good evening and namaste, everyone. We are on page 44 in the book Realizing God, if you have the book.
Oh, so it's Realizing God.
Yes, not the Divine Grace. That's Saturday. That's okay.
I see, dear.
That's okay.
That's what happens when you get old.
Exactly. So I'm going to be starting the third paragraph right now. We finished about Buddha. Now we're going to Christ. Okay, Christ taught the three schools of thought recognized by Vedanta. When he taught us to pray to the Father in heaven, Father is separate from us. That is dualism. When he said, I am the vine, A are the branches, that is qualified monism. Then again, when he said, I and my Father are one, that is non-dualism. Please understand that this is not only an experience of Christ. I and my Father are one. It has been experienced by saints and sages in different countries, belonging to different religions and sects. It is a universal experience. Should I read this one more time, Brother Shankara?
No, I think we've read it before, so I think you can just go right on ahead.
Okay. These three schools of thought, dualism, qualified monism, and non-dualism, are not contradictory. There is a harmony. They can be reconciled. But such harmony can be established or explained only through mysticism in a laboratory in our own mind. A scientist's discoveries come through the power of the mind, through concentration, the focusing of ideas and thoughts. Thus comes an intuitive knowledge. That same power of mind, focused towards the reality within, reveals the truth in its totality.
Now that, please read again.
Yes, I will. A scientist's discoveries come through the power of the mind, through concentration, the focusing of ideas and thoughts. Thus comes an intuitive knowledge. That same power of mind, focused towards the reality within, reveals the truth in its totality.
This is the purpose and the practice that we are taught to do by our teachers. Focus within. If we continue to focus without, we continue to have our attention distracted by the innumerable changes that go on in the phenomenal world. When we dive deep with it, when we go with it, we find a changeless reality. It isn't that the thoughts that our mind generates go stop. They don't. You simply sink beneath them. You sink into the silence. And so this is the purpose and the practice of spirituality. This is what we're taught to do by our teachers, whether we learn it from books or whether we learn it face to face from a guru. This is our intention and this is our fulfillment. Any comments or questions from anyone about that particular point or anything else for that matter? All right, please read that again, Ima, and then just read on.
Sure. You want me to read one more time that particular sentences?
Yes.
Sure. A scientist's discoveries come through the power of the mind, through concentration, the focusing of ideas and thoughts. Thus comes an intuitive knowledge. That same power of mind, focused towards the reality within, reveals the truth in its totality.
Focus within reveals the totality. Slowly and slowly. Okay, go ahead.
That's our meditation, right, Brother Shankara? Going with.
Exactly.
All of us have to demonstrate this truth for ourselves. It's not believing, not accepting, but of course, there has to be a working faith. If you study physics or chemistry, you have to have faith in the science itself. Similarly, there must be a working faith in the words of the scriptures or revealed truths as experienced by the great sages and seers of the past and present. One more time, I'll read that. All of us have to demonstrate this truth for ourselves. It's not believing or accepting, but of course, there has to be a working faith. If you study physics or chemistry, you have to have faith in the science itself. Similarly, there must be a working faith in the words of the scriptures or revealed truths as experienced by the great sages and seers of the past and present.
This working faith is no great mystery.
Yes.
If you have a recipe, which is a kind of chemistry, really, if you stop and think about it, if you have a recipe and you follow the recipe, you have a working faith that you're going to end up with an edible dish at the end of the process. So there's no great mystery about this working faith.
Right.
We need to have it. If we don't have it, we're constantly plagued by doubts and concerns, and we will be anyway, but we fend them off by our working faith, which is not blind faith. You see the process working, and so you have a working faith. Any other comments or concerns or questions?
I totally agree, Brother Shankara. I strongly believe that faith can move mountains.
Well, yes.
I strongly believe that aphorism or whatever you call it, it can really move mountains, and I'm one example for that. My life is one example for that.
Very good.
At this point, I'm here today in front of you. It's because of my devotion and faith.
Excellent.
So something that I always struggle with, in the last paragraph, it said that thus comes an intuitive knowledge, but yet I'm sometimes, or I'm afraid to trust my intuition.
Well, of course. What would you expect? Your intuition is telling you something very different than what you ever known. This is the process of spiritual practice.
The thing is it's always right, but yet I still doubt it.
Yes, exactly. Your mind, dear, is not your possession. We think that our mind is our possession. Our mind is the possession of the gunas and our samskaras. And so they continue to generate these doubts and fears, doubts and fears. And it doesn't matter how many times it's proven until we actually are established in samadhi. Then the mind is transformed, as Sri Ramakrishna says. But in the meantime, the mind will generate these doubts and fears. So just watch it and say, I understand, I know you. I understand why you're doing this. You're trying to protect us. Well and good. But I am going to go with my spiritual practice. There's the answer is it's understood from here.
Related
Brother
to
Shankar,
that.
Yes, dear. Who was it that was speaking? Some woman.
I am Sunil. I'm joining this first
Oh,
time.
yes, okay.
This is great. I am a big follower of Swami Vivekananda, and I have been reading his books.
Uh-huh.
One thing which I struggle many times is when I am reading the spiritual books, when it gets inside me, I develop that faith, a constant touch with God. But when I start dealing with the situations in the real life, suddenly that thing, whatever was inside me, it just becomes my intellect. It only remains at my intellect level. I lose that touch with the higher power. So any suggestions?
Well, yes, just go back to the life of Vivekananda himself. He struggled with this right up until even after Sri Ramakrishna's death. He was still walking and talking with M, the writer of the gospel, telling him that he was still struggling with doubt. It was only when he became established in samadhi. And this is the thing for us to pray for, to the divine presence. Let me find my way in that direction. And it is something that happens slowly. And for most of us, it doesn't happen quickly. So the risk is getting impatient. Don't be impatient. Your mind is very old. The mind that you brought with you into this incarnation, Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda says, is eons old. And so it has many habits, most of them simply coping mechanisms and ways to keep us safe. Well and good. Pay attention to it as much as is useful to you, but don't let it run your life. Let this intuitive faculty, this deeper faculty that you're studying when you study Vivekananda, because obviously he triumphed over all this. He left us all these works that are the objectification of his triumph. But it was not easy for him. And it isn't easy for us either.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brother Shankara,
Yes, dear.
yeah, this is Swayam.
Yes, ma'am.
If I heard you correctly and understood you correctly, your analogy of working faith being like a chemical recipe for in chemistry. So would you say that the ingredients of spiritual practice, like reading, listening, being in holy company, japa, bhajan, various aspects are the ingredients, and then sometimes we may need to tweak the recipe to either keep the working faith the way we need to have it, or increase or decrease the ingredients?
We have two. We have our intellectual and sensory working faith. This is what I meant by a recipe. I meant a recipe by which you create an edible dish. You have some working faith that if you work that process, you're going to end up with a dish that you can eat yourself and even share with others. All right, well and good. But as you mentioned, we have all these other ingredients that are the reason we cling to them, the reason we work them as part of our spiritual practice and training is because we have a working faith that, as the saints and sages have told us, if you do this, this will be the result. So yes, in both cases. Does all that make sense to you?
Yes, thank you, Brother Shankara.
So just keep working your working faith and keep your spiritual practice. The thing that is so important for us to recall is that our spiritual practice must be to the limit of our ability daily. We must do it daily. Otherwise, the mind will push back. We must achieve the results day by day by day that allow us to continue because we are getting the results. Anything else from anyone? No, that was perfect. All right, please read on, dear.
Swami Vivekananda said, the scriptures are not finished yet. The revelation is not finished. It is beginningless and endless. And we must be ready to accept the revelations of the past and the present and welcome those that will come in the future. From that standpoint, we shall find that there is a harmony between the different ideas, that they are not contradictory. To a dualist, God is a personal being. This personal being may be considered as with form or without form. You see, the definition of a personal being is one with the attributes or qualities. He is good, he is generous, he is gracious, he is merciful. The ideal is first to establish a relationship with God. As in this world, there are different relationships: servant-master, friend-friend, parent-child, child-parent, lover-beloved. These relationships are in every religion. Just offhand, I'm thinking of what Jesus said to his disciples. You are not my servants anymore. They are my friends. If you read the Song of Solomon, you find the sweet relationship of lover and beloved. When the vision opens up, we see Brahman, God behind everything. And God has attributes such as truth, pure consciousness, infinitude. According to non-dualists, these are not attributes but are one substance. In qualified non-dualistic philosophy, the universe of name and form is a transformation of God. But according to non-dualists, it's not transformation, but a superimposition on divine reality. From a theological standpoint, there's no harmony or reconciliation of these schools of thought. They remain contradictory. But when you understand religion as realization, there is reconciliation.
Now, there's the key.
Yes.
Read that again, please.
Sure. Yes.
Go ahead.
From a theological standpoint, there's no harmony or reconciliation of these schools of thought. They remain contradictory. But when you understand religion as realization, there is reconciliation.
What Sri Ramakrishna said is, well, these things all seem contradictory and paradoxical. Well and good. Come into the neighborhood of God, realize God, and all of these paradoxes and contradictions dissolve simply because you are in the presence of the majestic, infinite, unchanging Atman Brahman. And so nothing mental, nothing intellectual is in any way equal to that. These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna. So, any thoughts or comments or questions about any of that? All right, dear, please read on.
Realization comes through the meditation, I believe. Is there any other way? Brother Shankara, I know it comes through meditation, regular meditation. But is there any other way?
Yes, there is the grace of the touch of the master.
Okay.
Sri Ramakrishna's direct disciples, both of those who became the monks and some of the householders, received his grace through a touch. Now, we were just discussing this, I believe just yesterday, as Kalpataru Day,
Yes.
January 1st, 1886. I believe that's right, 1886, yeah. In which he conferred this among to many of his disciples. So yes, the avatar, Christ conferred when he said to his disciples, "You are no longer my servants, you are my friends." They understood in that moment that he had truly given them something.
Thank you.
You know,
Okay.
it can just come in middle of the day when you're not meditating, and it just comes out of the blue. Not always, but it does, or it can.
Yes. And it is by the grace of the teacher, not by any action of our own. You're absolutely right. It can and does. We feel it. And of course, the problem about this is because of the insistence of our mind on the reality and truth of the external world, we are often left with the memory of that feeling rather than the feeling itself. But don't despair. These come closer and closer together over time, and finally there's a unity. But even the realized soul, says Adi Shankaracharya, must be on the alert not to let the mind distract, because it can and will.
Brother Shankara,
Yes, dear.
sometimes I believe that Mother, the power that, the grace that grants the realization, knows better when I, as this embodied being, is ready for it than I myself know. That power knows when I'm ready better than who I think, I know. So best thing is to just keep the practice and have faith that when I'm ready, it will come.
Exactly.
Well, plus, you don't have any idea what's coming until it happens.
Exactly. And you don't have any idea who you really are. You are that. I mean, that's what the scriptures tell us. So of course it knows better than your body, mind, intellect when you're ready. And this is why you started down this path in the first place, because it decided you were ready. Ye have not chosen me, I have chosen you, said Jesus. It chooses us.
But
So there's no reason for pride or anything worrisome. Yes, Bhagavan does.
I was gonna say, the reason I always asking all these off the wall questions and things that may not seem to be in context is because, like I said, I doubt my intuition, and these things come, and then I start searching to validate it. Because if you told somebody that is not in this group, that they would think you're insane.
Yes, they would.
But haven't we felt, many of us felt that way earlier on in our lives, or maybe all of our lives? And the fact that it's real, you said that earlier, it's real, but you continue to sort of check it and try to verify it. I think that's good. I think it's great. I think it's necessary, because the more you do that, the more as you go forward, it's just going to solidify in you. So you will not doubt it as much.
Well, the thing is like, brother and Sri Ramakrishna says, you can't always sing the highest note all the time. But I mean, in some times, that unshakable faith, that knowing is there, and I surrender it all, and I just die into the arms of the master. It's like and everything else is gone. but I can't always be in that level. And then I'm here in the concrete world, and I'm doubting these things, because you're like, am I insane? Or, can I really trust what, my intuition is telling me?
Yep.
And the thing is, it's always...
This is why Cindy used the word solidify. It slowly solidifies so that you can put your weight on it. When it's not solid, you can't put your weight on it. It gives way. So when it solidifies, then you can put your weight on it. And when you can put your weight on it, then you can, for a time, sing the highest note. But no one, as Sri Ramakrishna so gently and lovingly points out, no one can keep their voice always on the highest note, not even he himself. This is what he was pointing out. Not even he himself could keep his mind always on the highest note. And so he said, I must come down 100 levels from singing that highest note. He said, I must come down 100 levels just to utter the word Om. Imagine how much further his mind must have descended in order to eat, drink, and make merry, as he said, with his disciples and devotees. So there's no limit, as we heard earlier. There's no limit to the infinitude of our potential experience. And we don't know, as you pointed out yourself, Bhagavan Das, we don't know from one moment to the next what's going to happen. So we can just live in that glorious expectation that if we continue our spiritual practice and direct our attention within, that incredible things will happen.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Sometimes things happen to me in really weird instances. Once I was just the other week, I was going to the grocery store. I get out of the car, and there's a man walking in front of me, and on the back of his shirt, it said, "God is everywhere." And I meant, my head just went pew.
Ah,
So little messages from my experience come out in very strange little idiosyncratic ways. But
yes,
boy, did that take my attention right away. I just went, wow, there's
yes, yes, yes.
He's
yeah.
a
Yes, this is, I always see this, dear, as the divine winking at us. Don't think I'm somewhere else. I'm right here in front of you, in the person of this man walking in front of you, wearing this shirt. That's who I am, and there I am, and here's the little message: wink, wink. What a beautiful experience!
Mhm.
You
Thanks
know,
for
it's like,
joining. I can't talk now. I'm in class.
but you know, the statement that we dance by the mother's will alone.
Yes,
And when you truly, really start taking that in, that
I'm sorry. You apparently didn't hear me. I'm in class. I cannot talk right now. Is that clear?
I'll call you later. Okay. Thank you, brother.
Okay, bye-bye. I don't even know who that was. Couldn't remember him on the screen.
Brother Shankara, I think if the whole world, every human being wears a shirt like that, I think the violence will come down. Violence should come down. Everybody wearing a shirt like that, God is everywhere, which is true. And that's not knowing that we have so much going on in the world.
Yes, but
So
dear,
much.
it's
Great.
hopeless. It's hopeless for us to wish that it
Yeah,
would stop.
yeah,
This is the very dark end of the Kali Yuga.
it sure is.
And there is no way, no matter how much we pray, no matter how much we ask,
Yes.
no way that it's going to stop.
Yeah.
This transformation has to occur. And so we just have to leave it be
Yes.
and pray for alleviation of the suffering of those who suffer, that those who are hungry be fed, that those who are homeless be housed, that those who are being shelled and injured, that stop. But that's the limit of what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
It is indeed the mother's, this is the mother at work, disassembling her era, the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, and preparing us, or perhaps not us if we leave this world, but perhaps preparing the humanity and this planet for the next stage, the golden age, the Satya.
I hope so. Thank you.
And we really don't know anything about all that.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that Haima about if everyone wearing that T-shirt, and Lynette, I've had experiences like that with bumper stickers. A car will be in front of me, but the thing is, if everyone had that bumper sticker or everyone was wearing that shirt, most people wouldn't even see it. I mean, Lynette saw it
You're probably right, Cindy.
because it was that moment. Everything's connected, and in that moment, she saw it.
the people that can see it will see it, and the ones that can't, doesn't matter how many there is. You know?
Exactly.
But
But she's right there, Bhagavan Das.
yeah.
If every bumper had them on, virtually no one would pay any attention because they already paid attention.
Yeah.
That guy was wearing that shirt just for you, Lynette.
Yes, indeed.
But
Yes, exactly right. That's what I meant about God winking at us. Don't think it isn't that. It is that. God does wink at us. We are intimately connected.
Yeah.
And God cares about us so much. Why would he incarnate? Why would she incarnate? Why would Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, Jesus and Mary, Sitaram, Radha Krishna, why would they incarnate? Because they love us, because they care about us. As Sri Krishna says, I come to the world to save you. And Sri Ramakrishna said, I come to the world to be your refuge. So, yay, I accept.
You know, it's funny because when Cindy was saying, you know, you feel more solid or you're standing on more solid ground. See, I feel just the opposite. That, you know, the more I go into all things are our Kali's will, they dance by the will of the mother, the more I start to identify everything as self. And I feel like the self I've known or think I am is just dissolving, like I'm just like fading away.
Yeah, these are just two different ways of looking at the same activities and expressing them according to your lights and your personalities. They're not contradictory, but
I
that's
understand.
solidity. You'll find that there is, in time, you'll find there is something solid underneath all of this that does not dissolve, because it is the reality itself with a capital R. It does not dissolve. It does not change. Dissolving is changing. It does not change.
Well, yeah, you know, I guess I'm dissolving into what doesn't change.
Exactly.
You know, and I feel it.
Good. Excellent.
It could be that it's new to you, and so it's novel, so it feels like, oh, I'm dissolving, but you'll get used to it.
Yes. If the
I
way
don't mean to be, maybe I do.
Well, I've dissolved before, trust me. All the way. But, you know, but I'm talking about just in day-to-day actual experience, the level just keeps getting higher and higher to where I just feel it moving in me, and I feel more and more like everything is the self, like literally.
Excellent. Excellent.
And it's kind of weird.
Well, it's more than kind of weird. It's the weirdest thing that can happen to us. So anything else from anyone? How are we doing for time?
We have 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes? Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Okay, we'll read on, dear.
Okay. I'll just,
Brother Shankara,
Yes, dear.
can I ask a quick question?
Of course you may.
So we know that this is mother's plan, game, whatever word we want to use, all this going on. But when we hear about the strife and see the suffering, hear about it, it does tend to cause pain, sadness. What are some of the ways to, yes, we can pray, we can, do what we can do to help. What are some of the other methods to not get so sad about that? Or should we just watch the sadness and let it go?
Well, I think you've answered your own question, dear. There is nothing to do but watch with to protect our heart as much as we can from any feeling that somehow we're complicit in this. We're not. And to pray for those who are in suffering. there's absolutely nothing else for us to do. We can give money. If we have money to give, we can share it through any number of non-governmental and nonprofit organizations that will welcome every penny you send. So there, of course, there's always that. There's always the possibility of sharing any disposable income that you have with those people who need it. Understanding that the need is in the billions, multiple billions of dollars. So if every one of us that is moved in this direction gave what we could, well, it still wouldn't be enough. It has to be the governments of the world that come forward. And they're always so measured in their response because there's something that they want in return.
Well, that's what's confusing me right now about the situation I have going on, is because I know the animal is the self, and I know all that, but yet I feel like it's wrong for me to identify with the suffering, because I watch the mind and I watch the subjectivity, and I know it's in the mind, and I feel like I shouldn't identify with it.
Just throw out this word wrong and shouldn't, Bhagavan. Just recognize that that's what the mind does. And don't judge it any more than you judge anything or anyone else. Just notice that's what the mind does. And respond as appropriately as you possibly can. Like I say, if you have some disposable income, give it to someone. If some particular instance catches your attention of some horrible suffering somewhere, then say a prayer for that instance. But don't think of yourself as wrong or bad or you're doing something you shouldn't. It is the nature of the mind to do this, and so simply observe it as you observe all of its other actions, some of which are auspicious, some of which are not. Anything else from anyone? Well, what good conversation. Thank you, all of you who have shared, and all of those of you who are participating in your own way without actively, openly sharing. We feel your presence. Thank you for being with us. So, anything else before Ima reads on? Okay, dear, please go on.
Start from the beginning of the paragraph, only 4 lines. From a theological standpoint, there's no harmony or reconciliation of these schools of thought. They remain contradictory. But when you understand religion as realization, there is reconciliation. In this connection, I will mention that when we were in Madras, which is Chennai right now, we asked our brother disciple, who was the abbot, a disciple of Maharaj, but senior to me, what exactly the experience was. When it comes, is it Advaita, non-dualism, or qualified non-dualism, or what? We wrote a letter to Swami Prabhavananda, a disciple of Ramakrishna, and the substance of his answer was this: God or Brahman is the soul of all religions, but nothing that comes out from that source can totally explain the source itself. No philosophy or religion can explain the supreme truth. Non-dualists reach that which is inexpressible, but that, again, is not the total reality. So we wrote Swami Prabhavananda back and said, but they all say that non-dualism is the highest. He answered, "What do I care about that?"
So like Triyananda. Oh, what do I care about that?
I see that beyond non-dualism, there is a state. It is said that you have to reach a state where Vedas become no Vedas. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, here, he could never utter the word I. What has been experienced here, what has been experienced is beyond all scriptures. My master said to us one time, after Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that is, after you reach the highest Samadhi, where you reach your oneness, after that, religion begins. So we are playing in the kindergarten, you know. God is not mere speculation, not a mere theory, but a matter of experience. In the Katha Upanishad, we read, none beholds him. Actually, in the Katha Upanishad, we read, none beholds him with the eyes, for he is without visible form. Yet in the heart is he revealed through self-control and meditation. When all the senses are stilled, when the mind is at rest, when the intellect wavers not, that, say the wise, is the highest state.
And that's the description of Samadhi.
This calm of the senses and the mind has been defined as yoga. He who attains it is freed from delusion. To him who sees the self revealed in his own heart belongs eternal bliss. To none else, to none else. That's the end of soul, God, and I think it's the little subchapter, the universe. That is the end of God, soul, and the universe subchapter. We're going to move on to Om. Any questions?
And that is, these are each of these are not subchapters. They're chapters within a section.
Section, yeah, I would say this section. God, soul, and the universe.
God, soul, and the universe is a section.
Section. Now we move to Om.
Yeah, and Om will be, but before we do that, how much time do we have left?
We have about 11 minutes.
Okay, so we have time to read on into Om. But is there anything left from what was said or read that anyone wants to comment on or express a concern about or ask a question?
Hi, Machi. Can you read just the last line, please, again?
I will.
Only last line, yeah. Thank you.
Only the last lines. Okay. Let me start somewhere where it makes sense.
So Shailesh said read just the last line. Did you not say?
Okay.
I would like to know the page.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean
sorry.
just whatever that was making sense. Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
last few lines or whatever.
Long line, I will start the line. Okay. This calm of the senses and the mind has been defined as yoga. He who attains it is freed from delusion. To him who sees the self revealed in his own heart belongs eternal bliss. To none else, to none else.
Thank you.
Eternal bliss means no longer taking human form. Our bliss in human form comes and goes. The more we practice spiritual disciplines, the more our bliss deepens and becomes more continuous. But eternal bliss comes only to those who have had full realization. And what we're promised is that for those of us who are following this path, that if we don't achieve it before we depart this body, it will be the grace and gift of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother to give us this eternal bliss, this ability, this eternal not returning to human form, where bliss is something that comes and goes. This is what we're told by the Swamis. I mean, I haven't heard it face to face from the Swamis, that this is what happens. So let us be faithful and not let our doubts overcome us. Stay faithful until the very last moment. And the confidence is from here that this promise will be kept. Anything else from anyone?
Brother Shankara?
Yes, dear.
I would like help from you to contemplate with me on this point. Calm in the mind and the self in the heart. I think a lot of times it's the reverse that's happening. The mind is not calm, and I'm trying to see the self in the mind and not in the heart. So the flipping of the switch to where the mind is calm and the self is.
You'll never see the self in the mind, dear. The mind is constantly changing. The self is changeless. They're completely contradictory. Only in the heart can we see the self, because the nature of the spiritual heart is changelessness, infinitude, eternality. Does what I've said make sense?
Yes, that's what I mean. I agree, and I think it's a key point to contemplate on, because the tendency is to reverse it. So to get to where the mind is calm and the self is held in the heart, I think is the
mind will never be calm, dear. The mind will never, ever be calm. It will be calmer, but its nature is to receive energy from the gunas, which impact on our samskaras. And so this generates our thoughts, feelings, emotions, perceptions. So the mind will never be calm. We must retreat from keeping our attention on the mind, let it go about its business, and find our way to this calm center at the center of our being, which we speak of as the spiritual heart. But the more we contemplate on this business about trying to get the mind calm, the more we're just chasing, like a dog chasing its tail.
Thank you.
It won't happen.
Thank you.
Can't happen.
It reminds me of, in the cloud of unknowing, and, and it's took me a while to really understand this, but it said that, you cannot see God directly. You can only see a reflection or the shadow of God.
Yes.
And, and even though I understood it intellectually, it's like, the face, you're trying to see your own face. You just can't.
Mhm.
And, because you are the Atman. And so, the Atman can't see its own face. And, but, at some point along the way, it goes from being a construct to an existential reality. And, and that's what I think she's talking about, is she's, the Atman just can't see its own face, and you are that. So
Precisely. For the Atman has no face. The Atman is a reflection of the divine being as Brahman. Saguna Atman, has attributes, but it has no presence that we would call a face or hands or feet.
But yeah, I mean, I don't mean a physical body
I
form.
know. But other people might not know. That's why I'm bringing it up. It has only presence, not any physicality or anything that we could see. Anything else?
Brother Shankara,
Yes,
this is Trigona.
yes, Trina.
I have one story to tell you, and let me know how it is. All right, this is the experience of a friend in my house, in my parents' house in India. He was visiting us. My parents are gone. My sister was there. He stayed at our house. In the morning, got up. We went from here to India overnight, and so he got up. He said, and then he started to tell us the story, me and my sister. He said, I saw a person. He was sleeping, and I saw a person who says, "Get up, get up! It is 3 o'clock in the morning. It's time to worship. It's time to worship." And that person was sleeping. He said, then he realized, oh, he's talking to him and says, I have to find the temple. I have to find the temple. All this is in the bed. He was sleeping. And the person standing near his foot head, he says, you are in the temple. You are in the temple. And he said, okay. So he was then groggy, and he tried to get up out of the bed, and he saw himself lying on the floor, not on the bed, on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he opened his, and then he came out, and he says he saw a person, tall, with white beard, and standing right in front of him, tell him to get up. So he woke up completely. Then he laid there. He came downstairs. When I went downstairs, he told us the story. So me and my sister were surprised that what is this going on here? Then as he got up to go upstairs, there is a shrine. And he said, what is this? I said, this is our shrine. Can I go in? I said, yes, you can go in. It's open for everybody. And he said, oh, this is the person I saw. But he was older than this person. I mean the face. That means he's Ramakrishna. And he asked me, who is this person? I said, this is Ramakrishna. This is Holy Mother, his wife, spiritual wife. That's about it. And he said, oh, this is the one I saw, but he was a little bit older. And me and my sister was kind of could not believe it. And my sister said, we are doing so much, and he sees in front of him. Now, what would we say that? He never knew about Thakur, and nothing he read about Thakur, and he said that.
So you want to know what I have to say about this?
Yeah, was it? He really was there.
Yes. This is what we've been talking about the grace of God.
Yeah, so
We don't have to earn it. We don't have to be something.
Yes, all these things that we are discussing about, like meditation, this and this, but this person got it without doing anything.
Well, we say without doing anything. How do we know what he's done in previous lives?
That's what I was coming. He must have done now another incident. He came to in Las Vegas. We were going to start meditation. He says, I want to come with you. I said, okay, sit down and come. He said, and he said, after we finished meditation class, little bit, 15, 20 minutes, he said, who is this lady? I said, that is Holy Mother. Why she is asking me to help him, to help. He said to me, help there, help, I need help me. And I had no answer. That Holy Mother was asking, help, help. So I'm completely lost there because I have nothing to
I have
say.
no idea either. I have no idea either what Mother was asking for. All you can tell him is, you let this rest on your heart and see if you don't get an answer as to what she's asking your help with. What is it that you can do to be of help to Holy Mother? But I have no answer.
Yeah, these are he's the one only that's getting these things. So because we are talking about all these things, it came to my mind that if we are in that way, we can see the Thakur in person. That's what my
No question about that. Many people have.
Okay.
Many people have seen.
Yeah, you just had to remember that time, space, and form mean nothing to the guru. That it just doesn't even exist in any practical sense to them.
Precisely.
Trigunaji?
Yes.
Namaste, this is Shailesh here.
Yes, namaste.
Thank you so much for sharing this experience, these two experiences that this person had. There are two aspects here. One is the experience which he had, the two experiences. And the second part is what we were talking about, trying to find out what it is. And I think the second part that's my understanding, my humble opinion, that we should let it go. But the first part is to let sink in that experience, that there are people who have that experience, and it's amazing. Just that experience itself, you said, like Thakur appearing to him and asking him to get up, and
yes,
you are yourself the shrine, which is amazing. These two instructions itself, that to wake up 3 o'clock is the Brahma Muhurta.
Yes, because my sister gets up since last Holy, they get up at 3, my father, all of them.
Yeah, I know you said that your father had an amazing experience when he passed away. So obviously there is an amazing devotional current in your family, and so that experience itself, it's very inspirational, and it's very very divine and very pure that you shared this. So thank you so much. My question is, can you share a little bit about this person, where he comes from, what his background is? I don't want to pass a judgment, but just curious.
Yes,
if you can
okay.
share
I've known him since many years. He is in here, Las Vegas, and he's from North India, and he worship Krishna, and he's so much devoted to that he won't even take a breakfast before praying. But the thing is that he knows a lot. He can see from his talk. I can see that he can see things. His wife passed away 2 years back, and he knew exactly how it is going to be, and she passed away. Now, this is something that is, I've seen that he comes to know things. He goes, it is weird. People can't believe. I mean, in certain part of this Diwali time, when there is, I think you are Gujarat. I mean, in Gujarat we have Kali Chaudas, when we worship Hanumanji. I travel in the space, and I open the door, and the soul goes in, and there are some people who never pass through the door. This is his story. I have no idea. And they are still hovering around their soul in the sphere, in the realm, because they can't. I don't know what is passing through the door. I have no idea, but that's what it is. That is his job, and he travels. He travels and helps people. Now he travels because he's alone. He travels and goes on the what you call cruise so often so that she doesn't feel alone at home. And on the cruise, he's helping people with their problems. So and so person, they ask for help, and he's helping to solve their problems in the family life with the people, this, that, all that thing. So he has some sort of, I don't know what you call it, what word should I say? Some sort of thing that he's helping people.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think he's just an evolved soul. That's what I would say.
Something,
We
and now
we
he said,
cannot label it what it is,
and
and
he
now we
also,
got it.
another thing was, he told us after wife passed away, he says she's already born in India, and she told further story, which is of no use to us. And he says that. So I asked him personally, so what next for you? Like, I'll be an angel and helping people. And he does that now.
Wow, amazing.
So I can't pinpoint what his wife was Christian. So I used to go with her to the temple for a sermon in Easter. On Easter, both of us would go. But he will never enter into the church. So that is where he's coming from. But this is, so I think what my that we can see the Thakur. That's what, no matter what we do, this here, if yeah, that's the goal. To see Thakur ultimately.
Yeah, thank
Hello?
Yes. Well, of course, that's there. The goal, of course, is not just to see Thakur, but
Go
to
with
receive
him.
the grace of Thakur, to carry us beyond this round of worldly existence.
Exactly. Just to be out of it, birth and death. That's the ultimate desire.
So in my humble opinion about all these experiences, and I come across a lot of people who complain that, oh, I cannot see Sri Ramakrishna and I cannot
This shows
experience.
that.
And same thing I am also going through. But my humble opinion about this is that, Thakur or Sri Ramakrishna or God, in fact, or any divine being in any path, it can be, Jesus or any other divine being, they attract you initially so that you don't stray, you follow a particular path, and then they encourage you. And then once you are on that path, they don't show up all the time because they know they are watching you, that you are on that path, and they are very, it's like, I always think about this analogy, and I'll tell you this. I raised two kids, two boys, very hyper. I used to take them to the park, okay, and that was my job when I came home, and I would let them play. And the playground here in the parks, public parks, there are places where they can fall from the, somewhere up there in that play area construction. They do it, like the slides and everything. So my eye always used to be on them, and they would keep playing, thinking that nobody's watching them. Obviously, they were very little kids, but I was continuously watching them, knowing that this is the spot. If they go, they cannot. I would immediately run and hold them, or not to make sure that they go through the slide. So I think Thakur or all these divine beings, once they attract you, once they push you on the right path, they are continuously watching you, and there is loving care. And I think we should not constantly come back and say, you know what, I'm not seeing Thakur, I'm doing so much.
No. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you are doing that. I should not, and I don't want to be instructing here, but I'm just sharing my thoughts here. Is that we should keep doing what we should keep doing what there is Thakur who is watching us, our divine being who is watching us. That's how I see
it. Okay, and another that sentence that when I say mother was asking, so this person was asking why she's asking me. I had no idea. My sister, who is in Michigan, I told the story, and she told me that mother is telling him to look after me. And these my two sisters. Ever since they were 7 years old, they have been getting up at 3 o'clock every single day without missing. It was instruction was given by Swami Anand Swami Saraswati from like which sector? Arya Samaj. This was my father's
Okay.
guru.
I think that there's been enough speculation about what mother meant. As I said,
Yes.
if the man wants to know, let mother's words rest on his heart and ask her what it is rather than somebody else interpreting it for him.
Okay. All right. Good. All right.
All right.
All right.
So
And one time I have to tell you something. I'll call you and talk to you about another incident privately.
please do, dear.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we've heard some wonderful stories. We've heard some wonderful readings tonight. And so next week we'll start on Swami Prabhavananda's talk titled Om,
Okay.
which I guarantee you will be fascinating.
Yes.
Anything else from anyone? All right. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga, Durga, Durga. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be cheerful. May we have peace of mind. And may we go forward secure in the knowledge that the divine being holds us in loving embrace, loving and protective embrace as our mother and father. As we start the prayer this evening, may the mother and father look over us lovingly. Yes, that is how they look over us lovingly. And as Shailesh pointed out, they are always watching us. They may show up as a man with a t-shirt on his back that says, God is everywhere, wink, wink. So Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai, Durga, Durga, Durga. May we be well and in bright spirits. So this ends our Wednesday gathering of the congregation. How sweet that we gathered this way, and look forward to speaking with you again on Saturday. For those of you who don't know, Saturday the 14th is the day that we start our Durga chanting for the next 9 days, Navaratri, and 9 days, 9 nights. And so pledge whatever it is you'd like to pledge. Send an email and let me know what that pledge is, and we'll take it from there. Saturday, of course, we have our class on Divine Grace, and on Sunday the talk is titled Durga, Is She Real? So, and until then, good night. Any final thought from anyone? All right, good night, dears.